Rudy. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see me in the frame. I kind of had to move around the camera a whole bunch, and I did a few other takes because I wanted to get a little bit loosey-goosey, because sometimes I get a little bit too nervous in front of the camera and I either talk too fast or I kind of like get lost for words and then do a big pause between them whenever I'm speaking. So I'm going to try to chill out a little bit and just kind of relax, and I'll talk to all my knitting friends. So hi, I'm Lindsay. Welcome to the Fortnightly Artist knitting podcast. I also talk about anything I've got going on in the art studio. So this is my art studio. So I dabble in all different kinds of fiber art. I do spinning, crochet, of course knitting, embroidery, let's see, sewing, pretty much anything that I guess speaks to me in that moment, I'll pick up and I'll start working on it. I also do a lot of painting and drawing. So for as long as I can remember, I've been an artist. First I started in, of course, drawing, and then I kind of went on to start working in fiber art. I learned to knit whenever I was 11 from books. I actually learned from an American knitting book and a British knitting book at the same time, which I think is kind of part of the reason that whenever I'm speaking, sometimes I'll use metric terms instead of, I guess, the American terms for the same ones. I find it easier to work with needle sizes that are in metrics and different things like that. So if you ever hear that, that's part of the reason. And then I learned to crochet whenever I was around, I'm thinking it was around the same time, but I'm pretty sure it was earlier, because I hold the yarn the same way also. And I was taught by my great-grandma and my grandma. But yeah, my grandma doesn't know how to crochet, or my great-grandma didn't know how to crochet. What was I saying? Okay, so my great-grandma, Mima Margaret, she didn't know how to knit, and then my Nana Jeannie, she didn't know how to knit either. So both of my grandmas didn't know how to knit, but I really wanted to learn. My dad would always take us to half-price books. I think it's always in football season he would take us to half-price books, and then we would just come home with like an armful of books of different kinds. And so I would always go to the art section, and because they're cheaper books, I could get all different ones on drawing and painting, and then I would do all sorts of knitting and crochet. So I guess that's kind of how I got some of the books to be able to knit, which is funny. My mom and my sister, they don't knit. Or I guess no one else in my family knits but me. So I don't have anyone else to talk about knitting with, unless I talk to my YouTube people or I go to my local yarn shop. And so I didn't really have like a local yarn shop for a long time. So it's really surreal to visit one in person. So sometimes I'll go to a yarn shop and then nearly like burst into tears because it's too much yarn, and then I'll get really excited. But yeah, it's been really amazing to connect with knitting people and crochet people in person. So I would love to continue to connect with people on YouTube and I guess establish a community, people that we can have fun with, we can do all of our crafts with. And let me see, what should we start with? I think we should start with finished objects and objects I talked about last time. So today I'm wearing the Flutterbutt top by Jessie Maid Designs. this is the original type of design that she did. So this one has a rollover hem. It's all it is stockinette here. So people call it the stocking stitch. I don't remember which term goes with what, but anyway. And it rolls over. And it stands up because I actually knit it in DK instead of fingering weight. So what I did is I sized down 2 sizes, and so I was able to kind of get it to work. I didn't think it was gonna work, but it did. It did work, and I guess the thicker yarn makes it stand up a lot, which is really cool. This yarn is, I think it's one of those carrying cakes from Walmart, because whenever I knit this, I didn't have that much money to spend on yarn, so I just used one of those, and it turned out pretty good. I've been trying to kind of move over to a little bit more natural type yarns lately. I'm not hating though if you like acrylic or anything like that. That's okay. Everybody's on a different path, you know. Not everybody can afford the really fancy yarns, or you just don't like different fibers. Okay. Oh, I want to show y'all. Hold on. So this is my top I wore in my last video. So one of my lovely viewers was asking me, what's the pattern for this? And it's actually the same one as this one. So this is Jessie Maid's Flutterbutt top, but this one's in fingering weight. And this one's by, or the yarn is by Purl Bee. You can find that at Hobby Lobby here in the US. And I actually did a different kind of hem on it. Let's see. So I think I did 5 rows of the knit stitch here, and then I did yarn over, and I did 5 more rows, and I knitted it straight into one of the purl bumps. And then I did a single crochet, it looks like, on top of it to keep it ironed down, so to make it lay flat. I did a single crochet right there, which I think it turned out pretty good. Hopefully y'all can see it. Hopefully I'm not kind of just like holding it and it's like, you know, where y'all can't see it. I think it turned out pretty good. Somebody asked me in one of the local yarn shops, so this was I think it was out in McKinney. McKinney Knittery, I think. Anyway, okay, so a lady that, I don't know her actual name, but her tag name is Mace of Skeins, and she asked me what I had done on the binding here, and because she knew about Jessie Maid's top, but she didn't know what the binding was on here, and I was so excited to talk to somebody about knitting and see somebody who's excited about something I knitted, because it's really wild to have someone else that knits like something that you knitted. It's really cool. Anyway, apparently she's like a really awesome indie dyer out in Texas. And anyway, if she's watching the video, hopefully she can learn more about the hem here. And also I put the details of the hem on my Ravelry if anybody's interested in adding that to their Flutterbutt top. Next, I'm going to show y'all how much the Swancho weighs. So, can you guess how much it weighs? So actually it weighs 1.6 pounds. It's pretty hefty. I made it out of Peace Fleece. If y'all want to see it, if you go back to my next video, I have all the details of what type of yarn I used. It's all Peace Fleece, and it's a very giant Swancho. I would model it now, but I'm way too hot already. It's really too hot in here, so I'll wait until maybe the winter time to show y'all. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some finished objects. Sorry if there's a cat hair on this, oh my goodness. So this is the Beeswax hat by Amy Vandelars, and she's also known as Baroque Purls on Instagram. I think the yarn, what is it called? I'm gonna look at my notes real quick. Let's see. Okay, I could not find it in my notes because I have too many notes. All right. So this is the October's colorway by, I believe it's White Rabbit Knits. I'll put it linked below if we don't know, and I'll try to do a little bit of a close-up. Hopefully y'all can see it. I think it's a really, really beautiful pattern. I love the yarn. The stitch definition is amazing. One thing I would say, if you're gonna knit this, whenever it says to use lifelines, I want y'all to do it because there's good reason for it. So on the two places that the author suggests to use the lifelines, it's whenever you would move the stitch marker over to, but I don't know what happened, but I switched it over to, I believe, the wrong needle, so then everything was off, and then I ripped back pretty much everything, and I guess, okay, well, it was about halfway finished. And anyway, it sat in the abandoned whips pile, or I guess the UFOs, for about a year, and then I decided, you know what, we're gonna conquer it. We're gonna conquer it this week. We're gonna do it. And so I stayed up till like 3 a.m. and then I finished it. And all it was is I just moved over the stitch marker over to the wrong way. Never again. So if you knit this, make sure you pay attention to those two rows where the stitch marker moves over. Also, I'd like to add one other reason why I love this hat is, of course, the hexagons. So it's like a honeycomb looking motif. But to me, they look like cyclohexanes from chemistry class. I took a whole lot of chemistry in college, and I don't know, it makes it so beautiful to me. Also, if you draw with like graphite of any kind, the shapes of the graphite on paper, whenever they're sliding over one another, are hexagons. And I don't know, it just makes it so cool, because I'm usually a painter, but my first love was pencil, and yeah, so that's one special thing to me about this hat. That's also why I love the other honeycomb sweater that I made. Anyway, that's just one of the reasons why I love hexagons. They're the best. They're throughout all of our molecules in our body, you know. Really awesome. Okay, so our last finished object is this crochet bag, which I'm so sorry if there's any cat hair on everything. I have 5 cats. So we got Rudy, Momo, Sunny Bunny, let's see, James, and Delilah. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody, but yeah, I got 5 cats. Anyway, so if there's cat hair on something, don't judge me. It happens. Okay, anyway, we're gonna get back to this. Alright. So this is the Strawberry Purse by ItsKenKen on Instagram. She also does TikTok and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, so she does her pattern for free. It's on like a little tutorial. And this, whoop, what fell down? I don't know. Okay. Alright, so after the random stuff falls off my desk, because this is my art studio and it's really messy in here, the yarn I used is Peaches and Cream. So, you know, if you're from around here, it's one of the cheaper yarns you can get. It's really accessible, and it's cotton. And so this colorway is, I think it's called Lime, or no, it's called Aloe Vera. Yeah, this one I don't remember what it is. But it's one of those, I guess, super skeins that you'd find. I got this at Joann's. But yeah, it's a really awesome pattern. You don't have to be a super expert crocheter to do it. I hadn't really read very many crochet patterns in my time. Maybe like 2 or 3. But all it has is single crochets. I think it might have triple crochet in there. I don't think it has half double in there. And it has a bunch of slip stitches. But it's really, really adorable. It's really sturdy because of the weight of the cotton. And I love it. Oh, one tip, okay. If you're gonna use cotton yarn, especially that's as rough as this one, don't size down your needle too much that it makes your hands hurt. So that's one main thing that I don't like about cotton yarns that are so thick. Yeah, it'll make your hands hurt a whole lot. So yeah, be careful out there. And let's see. I guess we should start on. Oh no, I actually have one more finished object. Okay. Shaking off the cat hair. Alright. So this is one of my most recent designs. It's a crochet pattern. It's made of wool. I think it's 100% merino wool. I actually have a whole bunch of pictures of it on Instagram and my TikTok. And so it was inspired by my great-grandma, Margaret, who recently passed away. So I guess the reason I named it after her also is because she really, really loved granny squares. And so this is very similar construction to a granny square, except it kind of increases in a different place. And it makes me think of her because it's a lot of granny squares. Whenever I would visit her house growing up, she would have all different kinds of crafts. So she did doilies out of that really tiny line thread. And they were really, really intricate and beautiful. And usually they're about that size. She also had kind of like these latch hook rugs on her wall. I remember she had this one where it was like these big old mushrooms that had these orange like stems on them, and I think the tops of them were like yellow or like light green. I think it was like chartreuse really is the word for it. It's yellowy green. And that hung on one of the, I guess, the doors. Maybe their air conditioner used to sit behind it or whatever. Heat pump. Anyway. And she had all different kind of crafts in there. As a little kid, it's a fascinating place to be because there's always something to look at. She had balls of yarn, and by her little corner of the couch where there was a lamp, and I remember crocheting with her on the couch. And yeah, she was awesome. She did all sorts of crafts. I think she even did a little bit of sewing too. And I think that's one thing that made her so sharp all those years, was continuing doing her crafting, you know? But yeah, here's my Margaret Shawl. It's currently in testing. Sorry, I probably shouldn't do that. It's currently in testing on Rippler. If anyone's still interested, you can send me a message if I post this video like in a normal time range. I also have the testing call on my Instagram. If anyone's interested, you can message me on there or down below, or yeah, you can tell me what y'all think. I think it'll be about intermediate to beginner with how it is. Hopefully y'all can see it. I don't know if you can. But I love making it. I also made Nick a matching one. My boyfriend Nick. Because he asked if I could make him one, and now we have matching ones. And so his looks like this. It takes about 3 skeins of K&C Pixel. I got mine at Joann's, and yeah. Let's see. So now we're gonna move on to our whips. Sorry, Rudy's like underneath the desk right there doing stuff. Okay. Let's see if I can reach it. I don't know. Okay. Alright. So this top really, it really shouldn't be a whip, but it is. And it's a whip because, hold on, let me rewind. Okay. You know what, I'm just gonna tell you. Okay, so it's a whip because I knitted the full sleeves, but it's knitted out of 1 strand of Mohair and 1 strand of Cascade Heritage. The problem was that whenever I knitted it the wrong length, and I didn't like it, and so I decided, okay, I'm gonna unravel it, and so I cut it, and then I tried to unravel it, and that created chaos because the mohair would grab onto the other string, and then the other string wouldn't let go of it, and then all the mohair started snapping, and then just like just chaos ensued. So yeah, I think I just inhaled like a mohair fiber. I don't know, but anyway. So this was a test knit by the Cat and Cage Collective. I've been test knitting her patterns for, I think, at least a year. I feel like we're friends now because I always test her her knitting patterns, and she has some really cool knitting patterns. They're all vintage inspired. This one has like this majestic like puff sleeve going on. It's really cool. This is a stitch marker that I made out of polymer clay. And yeah, it has this really cool collar on it that has the twisted rib. And these big old giant like puff sleeves, and then a ruffle hem at the bottom. It's really, really adorable on. But hopefully y'all can see it. I should do a video with it on, at least this video or next time, but it's really cute. The yarn I used was, I think it's Madelinetosh Impression, and that's in the colorway Whale Water, and then with Cascade Heritage. And I'll put the number the Cascade Heritage is because I don't think it has a word name, it's a number name. So I'll have to go find the tag, and then I'll try to put it down below. Okay. So this is another crochet one. This is a whip. Don't worry, knitting people, we got more stuff happening. Okay, so this one is, I think it's called the Mermaid Top by If Crochet, and it has these like really awesome like ridges that make a scallop seashell. And then this is the back that's just kind of hanging there. I used Quaere Fiber in the colorway Tigerfish, and this is fingering weight super wash merino yarn. And this is another stitch marker that I made. So if anybody's interested, yeah, I have an Etsy shop. Like if anybody likes stitch markers, but this is, I guess, a progress keeper is the real word for it. But yeah, so the story behind this is, I was crocheting this last summer, and then I got really confused about the pattern, so I abandoned it for a year, and it sat in the abandoned pile of whips, an unfinished object of sadness, and so I finally dug it out, and I said, okay, we're gonna do this week. So this week I've been really, really trying to finish those that are in the project basket of doom. So I finally got it started going on, and I figured out what I was confused on. and I just didn't know how to attach the straps and then finish that middle part here. I was really confused of what was happening there, but I think maybe it's because I haven't read that many crochet patterns, especially ones that have like front post or back post double crochet. It's weird the way you orient the needles, and then just everything is a little bit different than I'm used to. But yeah, let's see. I think that was our last whip. I could be wrong. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. So that was our last whip. So now we're going to move on to random studio stuff and acquisitions. So I think we're going to talk about first a little bit of the spinning and the yarn dyeing I've done lately. So whenever I did the DFW, I think it's called the yarn crawl. DFW. No, it's called North Texas Yarn Crawl. That's what it's called. Okay. So whenever I went to go do that, I spent a lot of time with the yarn shop, the Farmersville yarn shop at that point. They're called Yarn and You, that's the word. Okay. Anyway, so I got to meet a lot of awesome people, and one of the people I met, she had 2 adorable Shetland sheep. And if you've never heard of a Shetland sheep, they're these really, really tiny, little bitty sheep that are about knee-high, and I guess they can survive out here in the heat. I thought they were from somewhere where it was cold, so I forget exactly where they're native to, but I think it's a lot colder than where it is here. I'll put it on the screen where they're native to, I guess. But anyway, so how we got to the conversation was we were talking about our knitting, and she was telling me that she had like 2 sheep, because we were talking about our critters that we have, and I have lots of kitties, and I grew up with horses, so my family had like 3 horses growing up. And anyway, and my friend was saying, well, we just got 2 sheep and they've had their first shearing, but I don't know how to spin. They do know how to knit, and I knew how to spin, but she didn't know how to spin, so I said, you know what, I want to help you do that. And so we went next door to there's a fiber art store right next to it called Fancy Fibers, and there's an awesome lady there named Miss Mary Berry, and she knows everything there is to know about weaving, spinning, you name it, she knows how to do it. So both yard shops were right next to each other, and it must have been some kind of meant to be thing, because we went to go see Mary Berry, and she happened to have 2 sheep that she had sold. Really, she ended up selling her whole flock, because I guess, I don't know the story behind it, but I imagine like they were getting hard to take care of, and she also runs a whole shop. And anyway, so my friend had actually bought 2 sheep from her flock, but she'd bought them from a different person. But anyway, they figured out that both sheep were actually Mary Berry's sheep at one point, which is really cool. And Mary Berry showed us all different kinds of ways to spin it, the ways to unpick the yarn. So I think I can include some photos, or I'll show like a video of us unpicking the yarn. My friend didn't want her picture taken, but Miss Mary Berry didn't mind if her picture was taken. So we took a picture, and I went home with a whole bunch of fleece a few weeks later when we re-met up. So now I've got a whole jar full of sheep wool behind me, and I can show you a little bit of it. So this is part of the sheep wool, and I don't know if I can pull the hand carriers out. Let's see. There might be a crash. I'm so sorry. Okay. this is a hand carder. And so you have 2 of these, and then you take the fleece, which we did all the unpicking for. Sorry, I don't know why I was getting randomly nervous, but anyway, so once you have the fleece, you pick all the tiny little grass clippings out of it and anything, because her sheep didn't have blankets on them, because a lot of times if you're gonna use the fleece, you put a blanket on their back, so whenever they get real happy and they start rolling and doing what sheep do, they don't make the fibers super tangled with all of the different grass and all different kinds of burrs and cockle burrs and all different kinds of things that you could have, I guess, native to this area. And so she let me start hand carding it, and it's on my spinning wheel now, and it's super exciting, so I'll show a little video of it. Hopefully I didn't butcher the story too much, but oh gosh, I should say, she also gave me one more bag of fiber to play around with. I don't know if I can dig it out right now, but it's pretty exciting. But yeah, so I've been spinning that fiber, and I guess I forgot to put this in the whip section. I've been spinning some fiber from some art bats on supported spindles. Let's see. And then this one is, I guess I got a brand new spindle. And this one's a Mingo and Asho spindle. I already spun a whole bunch of yarn on it, and it's super cool. So I'll show a close-up. So this is very nerdy. I'm sorry if you're not ready, but I guess you're gonna get ready. So this is just I guess this is just one of my many hobbies. Anyway, so this is a supported spindle, and hopefully y'all can see it. I really don't know if you can. And it gets spun in a bowl, and then it makes yarn. So I'm gonna put it in its bag before it falls down or something. Let's see. But yeah, that's one, I guess, one of the other things I've been working on. I'll link the color to that fiber below, because I forgot what it's called. Wait a second, it's right back here. Okay. So it's Butterfly Girl Designs in the Queen Elizabeth I colorway. It's 4 ounces. I think it's merino, and it has that sparkly stuff in it is Fire Star. I really don't know what it's made out of actually, but okay. And then some of the next things I'm working on have been a lot of natural dyeing. I really want to do I guess maybe some vlog style videos, and maybe a larger video of all of the natural dyeing videos, because I filmed a whole different kinds of videos in the past few months. I haven't posted them because I wasn't sure how to put them all together into the same video. So the reason I'm looking this way is because all of the natural dye stuff is right next to me. So I guess, you know what? Okay, I'm going to show each one, and this is very nerdy. Here we are. Alright, so this is made with onion skins, and I mordant it with alum. Let's see. This one I did with black bean dye. This is avocado dye, actually. Let's see. Okay, and this one's black bean dye. Okay, and then the next set of fiber, I did a whole bunch of solar dyeing. And if you're not familiar with what solar dyeing is, it's whenever you would either pre-mordant your string, or you would put the mordant in the jar. Anyway, what I did is I put the mordant in the jar, and you add things that dye the string with it. You fill it up with boiling water. I'm trying really hard to say boiling correctly, guys. Boiling is how I normally would say it. Anyway, okay, so you put that into a jar, and you put your yarn in the jar. You can still pour the boiling water on the yarn, but you don't want to, agitate the yarn. And then you put a lid on it and you leave it outside for about a week. And that's how you do solar dyeing. What I tried to do was I would try to research like what type of thing would make what color, and it's all an experiment because you don't know what's going to happen. But, so I guess I can hold some up. Alright. Let's see. So this is green pecans. This one is onion skins plus iron. And this one is turmeric. Let's see. This one's my failed attempt at wildflower dyeing. Let's see. This one's dragon fruit. Let's see. What's the word? Okay, this one's red cabbage. Yeah. Hopefully everybody can see that. I'm not sure if you can. I'm hoping to do a whole lot more of natural dyeing in the future. So if you're interested, I'll definitely make more videos on it. I wasn't sure if everybody was ready for me to put all of the videos into the same video, because I thought that might be too much. Too many things in the same video, and it might be too much crafts. But I don't think it's bad to have this many crafts going. It makes me happy. I don't like being put in a box of just, you can only do one thing, and that makes me sad because I feel like it should be fun to, experiment and show different types of crafts and hopefully inspire people and make their day better by sharing some kind of art. And if I do art once a day, every day, my soul is happy. So, what should we do next? Okay. Are y'all ready for this? So I'm going to talk about some crochet hooks I whittle. I don't know if all of the hooks are back here, but this is my favorite one. So this one's made of driftwood I found at the lake, so it washed up on the shore. Hopefully y'all can see it. And how I make these is I take these knives back here and I start whittling on the end of little sticks that I find. So sticks are everywhere after storms. I mean, of course they're always on the trees, but after the storm, once they've fallen off the tree, I feel like it's okay and sustainable to take a few sticks that way, I'm not going and just pulling them off trees, So I guess an example would be, so you take a stick like this, and then you chisel enough that it makes the diameter of a crochet hook, and then you can start chiseling away and making like a whole crochet hook, and then you polish it. And what I like to do is I polish it with beeswax. I also made a video on how to make beeswax, but I don't know what video to include it in. I guess if you got any ideas of how to structure videos, and if you're a podcaster and you know what's the best way, I mean, I might need to separate them just so people aren't offended when they click on one thing and they're like, why is there so many art things in this video? It's because Lindsay loves art. But anyway, so that's how I do my whittling. I think one thing I should clarify is this is the reason why there's like the big goggles back here is because I do all the whittling, and to be safe when you're whittling you need to be wearing goggles. I'm especially worried, these are metal here and they're screwed onto this handle, but what if it slipped? So anyway, I'm always worried about random stuff like that, so I'll show you wear your gloves to protect yourself while you're doing your whittling. I think what I'm going to start doing, besides wearing the goggles, wearing the gloves, and wearing a face mask, is definitely going to wear a face shield or something like that, because it's probably not the best to be, I don't know, to be working with tools that could slip or something. I generally don't work with a bunch of wood that has that kind of like a density to it that it's going to slip, but anyway, that's how you be safe while you're whittling. So if anyone was worried about me, I do take some safety precautions of PPE. Yeah. Okay, and I guess the last of the whips. I think this is the last of the whips. There's never really an end. I don't know. Okay. So I also made this skein of yarn on my spinning wheel. So it looks like this. I'm so sorry. There's cat hair on it. Hopefully there isn't. I don't know. Hopefully there isn't. Anyway, this is 100% merino, and it's by Quaere Fibers. It's spelled pretty much like fabulous, but I think there's a J in it. And my dad got this for me on a business trip. One time he went up to California, and he met this sweet little lady in a yarn shop that she didn't know how to use a computer, and it was really cute. And anyway, every time I pick up this skein or I pick up the fiber that it was spun with, I remember that, and it makes me smile because like he was helping this sweet little lady figure out how to use the computer, and it was just sweet. Let's see. And this one, I recently spun up on my spinning wheel. Hopefully y'all can see it. This was from my Arizona trip I took one time. And so we got to do all sorts of hiking in Arizona, and the colorway is called Sedona. I'm trying to think, what is it called? I have it, sorry. My drawer of all my fibers behind me. Okay, so this is Blue Moon Fiber Arts, hand-painted roving, and the colorway is Sedona. And it is beautiful. It looks just like a mountain or a big oak landscape, and it's just the best, and it's cuddly, and it's made of, it's made of BFL, yeah, 100% BFL, which, if anybody knows how to pronounce this, I'm sorry, but this is what Blue Face Leicester, I'm so sorry, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But it's beautiful. So that's my second hand spun whip. It's really funny to me how, like, anything you knit, you crochet, or you spin, or anything you're spinning hours and hours on, like say you sewed something or you painted it, and I can remember the day that I painted it, or what movie I was watching whenever I was knitting it, or I guess the time period, just any of those feelings in that time period I can remember. Say I knitted a sock during, I don't know, like during one of my breakups from high school or something. I can look at that sock and I can remember that time period, you know. Or I watched a scary movie whenever I was knitting a different sock, and I can remember it, and it's weird how memories are attached to the art we create. I guess it's because we spend so much time with that object while we're making something. It's pretty crazy. Also makes me think of the sweater I knitted during the snowpocalypse, the Texas snowpocalypse as I call it, when no one's heat worked and all the power was out. Anyway, a story for another day, but it's crazy, or it's wild how that works. I don't know. Okay, let's see if I have anything else to share art-wise. I've been doing some painting. I haven't done as much painting as I wish I had, but I guess that's what every artist would say, that they wish they had done more of a craft or spent more time doing it, and I guess the way to do it is to try to schedule time to do it, and I'm really bad at scheduling time to do it. One day I should do a sketchbook tour. Okay, so this is my favorite sketchbook. It looks like a hobbit would own it, and and just be like frolicking around and painting with it, I guess. I just smacked myself in the face with it. It's true. Okay. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. Look like I'm about to do a reading for a children's book right now. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So this is a painting I recently did of some trees. And this is just, you know, just in like a park. And I had a lot of fun doing this. I'd say I do a lot of portraits and things like that, but I don't do enough landscapes, and I really do love doing landscapes, and I love trees. I mean, I studied biology in college, so I do, of course, I love biology. My boyfriend studied environmental science, so it makes sense how much plants we own in our house. But anyway, so this is one I've been working on. This is gouache paint. I think that's how you pronounce that. I don't know, but yeah, if you've never painted with that kind of paint, it's very similar to acrylic and watercolor, but mixed together. You can wash it out as you would a watercolor, but you can build it up as you would acrylic. It's very cool. And here's some green pecans, because you know I dyed some yarn with the green pecans, and then I painted them just for fun. And this is, I guess, a red onion, which I didn't dye yarn with a red onion because I actually painted this like a year ago or so. I don't know. And then I did some kind of abstract ones lately. So this is Sunny Bunny, which I call him Mr. Bun or Mr. Sun, or actually I call him all sorts of stuff, because you know I usually don't call my animals by like one name. Like I call him the Bun of Sun or Mr. Bunny. His name is Sunny Bunny though. Anyway, this is kind of like an abstract kind of fun painting, because he was sitting next to some jars, and he really doesn't like lemon or lime smells, because cats don't like citrus. And I just put it next to it because it was funny, because he looks kind of angry, even though he's really a happy cat. But yeah. And then there's a big orange here, because he's orange. I thought it was so funny. I don't know why. But yeah, here's some of the paintings I've been doing. I really need to be doing more, but I guess everyone says that though. I don't know. Okay. So next, we should go on to acquisitions, I think. Let's see. This is gonna be hard. Okay. It's all the way over there. I recently got my hands on some Nutiden yarn. These actually are they're from all the way from Sweden. But it actually does get cold in Texas, so you can use it. I'm also wondering how breathable this fiber will be, because it's unspun. If you don't know much about unspun, it's an experience for sure. So it's very similar to a roving as you're spinning or something, because roving doesn't have, roving doesn't have a twist in it because it's a big tube of fiber. So in the same sense, the Nutiden yarn is kind of like a tiny rope of fiber that doesn't have twist in it yet. But it is very beautiful, but the only way it stays strong is because of the long staple length in it. And I guess we can illustrate it by some trying not to drop everything. Okay, so if you pulled a tiny bit really close together, it won't break. But if you did a big piece like this, it will break easy, just because of the long staple fibers in it. It's very interesting. So what I'd like to make with this yarn, oh no, there's a random yarn on here. I'd like to make the in between the Petals, or Between the Petals pullover by Tetisknitgarden. She's got the most beautiful patterns that are botanically inspired, because they studied lichens, I believe is their, I think they got their PhD in lichens. But yeah, I don't think they use Nutiden in theirs. I think they use a different type of unspun fiber, but I think it'll turn out pretty good. I've been kind of waiting to cast on the sweater because I'm in between sizes and I don't know which one to pick, because the two sizes that I'm in between, I could either do the 33 stitch around, or not stitch, 33 inches around, or I could do the 37, but there's 2 inches built in for positive ease, so I'd have like 2 inches of, I guess, breathing room in the sweater. If you don't know what positive ease is, but I'm about 35 inches around, and I'm wondering if it's going to be too big if I do the size 37, because it'll be 39 inches around with 35 bust. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, because the other way, I'm afraid if I go to the smaller size, it will be too small. So, if anybody knows some tips, let me know. I'll tell y'all what I do. I'm wondering if my gauge is going to change with this type of yarn, because it's unspun, you have to be a little bit careful with it as you're knitting. So I think I'm going to knit a lot slower, and I'm worried that I'm going to change my style or something like that. I don't know, but I do, I guess, 2 different styles. I used to do only, I guess, English, like the throwing style, which is funny. I don't actually throw with my right hand. I would throw with holding the yarn between 2 fingers and then wrapping it around the right hand needle as I would knit, and so I would do this as I knit. But I also learned how to do continental knitting, where you'd hold the yarn over your index finger of your left hand, because I'm a right-handed knitter. But yeah, I don't know which style. I guess I could do a gauge swatch of both in the round, though I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of afraid it'll change regardless of which one I do. And sometimes I accidentally switch in between, which I know can change the gauge a little bit. But my gauge swatches were in range so far, so I don't know, I guess I'm a little bit worrying too much about it. But I think that's all I got for acquisitions. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I think that's all I've got for today. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast or too slow, because I am from Texas. I'm afraid it's going to be too slow of speaking. I don't know. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to touch on in my next video. I'm hoping to show everybody all different kinds of crafts in the future, and I hope that I inspired y'all in some way and made your day a little bit brighter, because I would hope that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, but I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all later. Happy crafting. Bye.